a dip in your hip, a glide in your stride. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe, with shows throughout the week. Everything you want, everything you could need. From the paranormal to the supernatural, from the spiritual to the unknown, from emotions to comedy. You can find us at Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and so much more. This is Rift Nation Network, the RNN. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
Sensitive/offensive content disclaimer. Please note that this podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues, explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or hosts may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert.
Hello, and welcome to another wonderful edition of the Otter's Den with your host, Keith, and yes, over there, Jan. And Adrienne will be on in a little bit. She's going to be running a little bit late, and that's okay. I generally have that issue myself. Stuff happens. It does. So I'm going to jump over here to chat and get the chat up. And so, I will be able to throw comments up on the screen so we can read them together and answer questions if we get anything. And hey, Lisa, how you doing? See, just like this. That's how that works. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. How you doing? So I am going to ask you to introduce the show that you and Adrienne do and tell us a little bit about it.
We do a show. We try to do a show every other Friday. It's called Getting Comfy with Adrienne and Jan.
Yes.
And we are just middle-aged women with a lot of kids, a lot of grandkids, a lot of life experience. We work in the paranormal field, and both of us are energy workers, and we tend to have to ground our families, and we find energy patterns in our families and what to do about it and how to break those chains and
yes,
all that crazy stuff. And ultimately we talk about grief, and how that plays a big role psychologically, how things work. We just tell you where we went wrong. So maybe you don't go down that path, or, like where we go right. So
you share your own life experience and the advice that you can give to others to help them from your own life experience.
Right.
That's exactly what I do on the Otter's Den and other places and stuff like that.
I think that's why we get along.
I think so. I have helped you. You have helped me. We have helped each other. And over the years that we've known each other, we have gained a pretty valuable friendship, and I'm appreciative of that.
As am I. And, I feel bad because we do what we do. I feel like we don't get time to sit down and just have our own counseling session. That's what I feel like when I pick up the phone and I'm like, okay, I need Keith, or you're like hitting me up going, okay, Jan, I know something's up. And I'm like, okay, yeah, let's have a counseling session. That's what I feel like. And we need that as energy workers. And
we do. And generally our counseling sessions work into, hey, I got a few minutes. What you got? And 5 hours later, we're like, I'm sorry, I got to get off the phone.
Right. But let me remind you of this one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's where, Adrienne and I, we're also lost with the show, with the holidays and all of our stuff that came up with the family. It's been hard for us to get back into it. And we told ourselves we're going to do it. We have to.
Hear that.
Yeah. I have a soapbox that I like to stand on. So
nothing wrong with that. If you see me doing things in the background, I am trying to get our guests on the show.
Oh,
our guest. She's saying the link is sending us to a log-in only section.
Yes. I had to create an account. It was simple. It took 2 seconds.
See, the guests aren't supposed to have to do that.
That's fine. She's a big girl. She can handle another thing in her email box.
Working on it. I'm just going to mention something. Now, you and I were talking about show music and how when show music is played and other people have issues with show music, all of a sudden the show doesn't get put out. This is the only one over there that's popped on so far. So, Lisa, could you do me a favor and share this out, please? Just all right. Because I want to get you guys some guests. I want to get you guys put out there. Make an account.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Ryan, how you doing?
So, what have you been up to lately?
Everything and nothing.
I feel that.
Work. Dealing with work. Mentally dealing with work. And family. And trying to work on the house. And I'm trying to get things organized in my house.
Good luck.
This weekend, I actually organized that closet right there. It has been a pit for over a year. I couldn't find anything. So I went through that, put a shelf up, and I went through that, each drawer separated, organized. So I have all my smudges laid out in the drawer. So I can open it up and find which one I need to cleanse my house. I have all my candles organized, my stone and crystal bags organized. I have everything all organized so I can find things now. Next is this desk. Because if you could see this desk, you'd shake your head. I got notes and lists and stuff everywhere, including a jar of these.
Oh, Jesse has one of those. He carries it around in his dash.
Yeah.
He also has his fix-it wand.
Cool.
His bucket wand.
Like it.
Yeah. So I'm proud of you. That's awesome. That's great accomplishment.
Thank you.
Call me in 6 months and tell me how the drawers still look, okay? And then I'll give you the encouragement to go back and reorganize them.
Okay. You know
Okay.
me.
Yeah.
You know me. You do. But my point to doing this is I started in the basement, and I got my shelves organized. I got my electrical stuff put with my electrical stuff, and my plumbing stuff put with my plumbing stuff, and my food put with my food, and everything's in its proper place now. I can walk through the basement, got my Bowflex set up, got 2 boards leaning up against the wall with all the exercises laid out and pinned up, because one of these days I'm going to start working out. One of these days. And then I moved up, to the 2nd floor, and I cleaned and organized, dusted, rearranged my stones and crystals, redid my kitchen a little bit so I can find and reach stuff better. And then I'm up here to the 3rd floor and got my bedroom done. Now I'm working on my office step by step. But my whole point to doing this is, looky here.
Oh, she's arrived.
There she is.
Oh, it's glorious. It's beautiful.
Hi.
It is. This is completely backwards because this is using the camera off the computer and not the other camera on the other computer.
I like this view.
Yes, if I want to point to Jan, I got to actually point away from her. Everything's mirrored.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, real quick, the whole point is so that I have an open desk without it covered in everything. So I can have a notebook here to jot down notes and actually start writing my book, which I have on my vision board right over here. I actually made one of those on my wall. It's plaster. There it is. Uh-oh.
Hi.
I think I arced a little bit. I got excited. Sorry. Anyway, welcome, Adrienne. She is Jan's partner in crime. And Adrienne, I am going to start you off on our show by explaining that I like to have guests on that help other people. I like to get them out, maybe get them some more people watching their shows and some clients and whatnot. But the main thing I'm going to start you off with is a question that Jan asked me to ask you.
Oh, shit. Am I going to hurt you later?
And you don't have to answer. You're encouraged to, but you don't have to.
Okay.
Hey, Michelle, how you doing? I'm supposed to ask you, what was your first impression of Jan the very first time you met her?
A mix of everything. She was really intriguing. Like, I thought, she's really cool. What is she doing? Is she crazy? I want to be friends with her.
Very well answered. Very well answered.
Under very special circumstances. So, the crazy came out immediately.
I heard the story before the show started, so I know. I'm not going to repeat it.
Oh.
That's between y'all.
We repeat it often.
Yep.
I probably would too. I'd be proud of it. That is hilarious. I love it.
Well, when in Rome and you find your best friend in a bar,
You mark your territory.
you mark your territory.
That's
I mean,
right.
you let everyone know that you were peeing all over her and that nobody is going to get near her.
That's my friend.
Yep. And then you tell her, I told her, I'm your best friend.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be your best friend.
And look at you today.
And ever since then.
That's amazing. That's how you know.
Mhm.
That is how you know. They say soulmates come in many aspects. lovers, friends, family, whatever. But yeah, you two nailed it right there.
We already know that if we outlive our husbands, we're moving to an island somewhere all by ourselves, and we're just going to be the two crazy cat ladies, and it'll be just fine.
Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that.
She'll be holding the cats, and I'll be holding, the ammo.
Yeah.
So,
And if there's a beach on that island, that is going to be the world's biggest cat box.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
So nobody can go near us.
Right.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Maybe it's because I want a movie. I want there to be a movie about like Adrienne and I, and like where would we be if they made a movie about us? We'd be crazy hard to find.
But everybody would be looking.
Yeah.
We
Where
could
would they find us?
I know some people. We might be able to get that done.
Yeah.
We might be able to write that and pull that off.
Yeah, like some couple of crazy like energy workers out there working their energy, growing shit they're probably not supposed to be growing,
I wasn't gonna go there.
I think it's pretty legal everywhere now. I think we're
Oh, we got some magical cures for you.
Yeah.
But it would have to be like an Indiana Jones, like Laura Crawford, like scene trying to get to us, right?
Yeah.
I like that.
Trying
to get to that patch.
Yep.
Trying to find the mysterious energy workers because the world's gone crazy.
And they have to save the world.
Yeah, and then you know what? When you sit down with us, we'll share some of our tea and tell you how we fucked up.
Very true.
Yeah. Oh, no, honestly though, and that's what the show's about too. Like, where we find ourselves. Where do we find ourselves in the most particular like circumstances, in the most weird situations, especially as energy workers? All of a sudden we come across ourselves, like Adrienne talking to somebody the other day. She's like, okay. All right. Yeah, she's slowly backing away. She's like, yep. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
That's crazy. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
After 5 uh-huhs and yeahs and that's crazies, I'm out the door.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
5's my limit.
And how do you protect yourself as an energy worker, as somebody who is, naturally healing? How do you ground yourself, but yet do it with dignity and love and walk away? Right? Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah, it is. It's difficult. When you walk into a grocery store and when you have a complete stranger walk up to you and start telling you their life story and about their health issues, which you don't want to know anything about, and you especially don't want to know details about where those health issues are and what.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm going to stop there. But you try to be polite and you plant little seeds and then, look, it's time. I got to go. Have a great day. Or you change your shielding and put some push in that shielding and put a mirror on that shielding so they see themselves. And when they see themselves and hear themselves off of your shielding, you're saving your energy and they're like, oh, I don't like it. I got to go. Boom. Down the aisle. So energetic shielding in Walmart is very important. Just saying.
Oh, Walmart. Yeah. Yeah, that's my favorite place. I go hang out there often. So often that delivery comes out here and I'm willing to pay the money because I live out in the boondocks. Okay. Got super excited when delivery came. I now order my groceries online from, an organic food store. So
there you go.
Yeah. That's how much I love to go out. And if I have to by myself, I have these handy dandy little things I put in my ear.
Yeah.
And turn the radio on. And then I got this little thing that I turn on.
Yeah.
and I just smile and I get in my own groove and
There you go.
I'm gone from there. And I spread my love and I look crazy, but
Well,
old people think it's funny, you know?
going into Walmart used to drain the shit out of me. And I would literally be running around hiding from people because I'd walk in, I'd see them, they'd see me, and I knew. I knew, I felt it. And boom, they're making a beeline, whether I knew them or not. And I used to get in trouble because it took me so long to go to the store to pick up something that my ex-wife needed to make supper. You know, what should have taken 20 minutes took 45. And it's difficult to explain that, well, this person caught me and this person caught me about their carburetor and this person caught me about their brakes and this person caught me about, you don't even want to know. So next time you go to Walmart. And I used to walk out drained, and now I pull in the parking lot. I throw on my shielding, open my ground chakra, bring in the power, put my little shield on, and I walk into that place. I grab my cart, I wipe it off with the little handy wipes there, and I throw it away. I go in, I get, and I'm okay. Everybody leaves me alone. When there's two little old ladies sitting there jabbering in the middle of the aisle and you can't get through, you set out an intention, and next thing you know, they're poof, and you can walk down the aisle. Comes in handy. Mr. Odell,
Ed.
the founder of the RNN network, is in the house.
See, I can't see his comments on here. Okay, now I can. I had to redo everything. Okay.
You got him?
Got it now. I was trying to share it to Things Network, and
well, thank you for that.
so
I don't do the sharing.
I do.
Sharing is caring.
Well, no, I mess it up every single time. Like I just don't do it right. So I depend on Adrienne. We're kind of balanced out that way.
I got you.
Yeah. And if it wasn't for Zach, then that, we wouldn't have a show.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
I'm a woman, I'm codependent.
See, I had to work many years of healing in order to not be codependent.
Yeah. I'm independent in a lot of things, but there's a lot of things where, I just need to be codependent.
Hey, Jeremy.
Hi, Jeremy.
Thank you for popping on, man. Appreciate that. I thought of a question just a second ago, and it went Zoom, so maybe it'll come back here in just a second.
So you were talking about earlier that you like to have people on that help others and different things like that.
Yes.
So while you're thinking of your question, I'll kind of go down that path a little bit. Like she said, our show a lot of times is about. Ed says hi, Jan.
Yeah, I was gonna wave. I wasn't gonna interrupt you.
Oh, it's fine. So a lot of times it's something that happened that week, or something that happened in the family, or something one of our friends went through. If it's about us, usually we name names, and it's fine. We're an open book. It really makes no difference.
Right.
But my husband also does community pay it forward, which he was in a motorcycle accident, left him disabled. And of course, we all know food stamps and different things. You don't get them because you made too much the year before.
Yeah.
So it doesn't help you when you can't lift your head because you have a broken neck and a broken skull and, all that good stuff. It doesn't help. So he created a program where people can help other people.
That's amazing.
And so January 22nd is our 22-hour podcast. Hey, Nick. It's our 22-hour podcast. He sits on the podcast 22 hours straight. And it's to help veterans. Jan and I do our yearly little episode on there.
That is amazing.
A lot of the paranormal community gets involved and does a little segment to where he can get up.
Yeah.
And kind of take a break for a second. But it's to make sure that we're aware of the veteran suicide rate it was 22 when we started, 22 a day. It is no longer. It is way higher.
It's more. Freya, it's okay. Nobody's here. Sorry about that.
But we are very much into helping, and Jan is always involved in everything we do. We're involved as much as we can with everything she does because it's such a distance.
Right.
But it can still be done. You don't have to be next door to be able to do things.
No, you can. I help people paranormally all over the country.
Yeah.
I've helped people overseas by video chat.
Yeah.
I've done Reiki, distance Reiki, video chat Reiki. You figure out that, and science is actually proving this, there is no such thing as distance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's the name of that one thing? I don't know. Me and words don't get along, but that really high level of math stuff. And
Yes. You can forget math. That's above my head.
Yeah.
But, it is a thing where, I mean, when we even go investigating, when we go investigating places, and we discuss, how something got there, or we do a lot of research on a place before we go.
Yes, very important.
She does. I don't.
So when that happens, though, they already know you're coming because your wavelength has already gotten there.
Yeah. Your energy is poking in their domain, and they're like, who the is this?
And a lot of people, a lot of mediums, even on TV, are saying now, before they even know where they're going, they were asked to go. And within 2 weeks of that, they got visions of that place and what happened and visitations. And so, that in itself shows us there is no time or space, and energy can go from here to here in a second.
Yes. And that's one reason why it's so important. If you are a paranormal team and you're helping other people, that it's very important that you protect not only yourself, but also your property, your family. Learn the hard way.
And that's what we do. That's what our show is about. And that's what my job is on investigations. Like this last one that we went on, we knew that we were going to be running into something bad. I looked at the ones that I knew that were susceptible because of the location we were at and what we were dealing with. And I said, listen, you guys are susceptible. When you feel like you're being attacked, just come find me and I'm going to protect you.
Yes.
But we stood in a circle before we went in. And we laid, this big bubble around us to protect us as a team. Mm-hmm. Even if we wandered off individual, if say Nick went and got lost, he would leave a trail for me to find because of this energy, bubble that he has, right? Yeah. I'll be able to be pulled towards him and to pull him back towards us, right? So it's like the safety thing. When I do that, I make sure that I also protect their families and their loved ones.
Yes.
and everything with that protection, that whatever it is, the second that they leave, it's gone. It's not there anymore.
And that's another reason why it's so important to know your paranormal team, the people that you rely on for helping other people. You need to know their speech patterns, their mannerisms. You need to know a lot about them. That way, when you are out on an investigation, helping other people, and all of a sudden they start talking different, they start moving different, you can say, hey, why don't we go outside for a minute? Get that taken care of.
Yep, that's Adrienne. Adrienne, that was an intense investigation. Adrienne and I, our first investigation together, I think was probably the most memorable that we'll ever have. And that was an eye-opening experience. I think not just for her, but for me too. Thank God she knew me well enough to know what was going on. And she didn't question anything. She's like, nope. She's like, just let it roll.
Yeah.
Just I have her, let it roll. And you have that partner and that trust.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah. One of my investigators, we were just doing a fun investigation down at a haunted location just for practice. And she was really staring at this doll sitting on this piano. And I said, girl, don't pick up that doll. I turned around and I felt it. She picked up that doll. And the next thing you know, she's holding the doll and she's wandering around and she walks over to the front doors and just stares out the front doors. And I'm like, yeah, here we go. So I took the doll after I put some mojo on my hand and I put the doll back on the piano and I took her back outside and I made her hug a tree while I pulled this thing back out of her and put it back in the doll. And she's like, what happened?
Yeah.
She's like, I picked up the doll, didn't I? I'm like, yeah, you did.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's hard for people to understand, if they're looking at it from the outside, it's hard for people to understand.
It is.
How can you not know what just happened? You just did it.
Yeah. But
And
if you get jumped, if it gets inside you, that's what getting jumped means. Spirit and entity jumps inside of you. Sometimes that can knock you out of the body. So you are not there having an experience. You are somewhere else in limbo. Or it is like stepping on you so that you can't see or hear what it's doing. I know firsthand about that.
So do we. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if Adrienne wants to talk about it, but we had a moment that was absolutely terrifying on your
one?
for you. Like it was your first moment when you realized, oh shit, something is wrong. And it was when we were in Appleton and we were in the hotel room.
Yeah. So we have a paranormal person among us that we didn't part on very good terms. And this lady was dabbling into things that should not have been and out of her realm and making deals with the devil, so to speak, to do whatever you wanted to do.
Yep.
And we were not even discussing anything. We had not discussed anything about this person in months, maybe a year. And we're going up the elevator and we're having to work with energy at this point anyway, because we're having to ground a young lady. That was our trip. We're having to ground a young lady, a child that needed help.
Okay.
And so we're going up the elevator and we get in the room and she goes, oh, shit. I said, what? I felt no different. Nothing. And she said, look in the mirror. What do you see? It wasn't my face. It's almost like those AI, where they put two together.
Yeah.
You can see her face. And I'm like, no, we're just tired. No. And she had to do a few things to get her gone. And it still happens. But now when it happens, apparently it has happened one other time. But I don't know who or what. I can't say for sure it's her that did this, because I found out that same night that I had a conversation with Jan's husband. I have no recollection of.
No.
None whatsoever. And I'm talking, I've been drunk. Never to where I don't remember what I said.
Right.
And having a full-on conversation with a man at that doesn't belong to me.
Mm-hmm.
And the conversation...
I walked away. I started laughing and I said, I love you. She's all yours. Good night. And I went to bed. And I left him on the front porch going,
what the?
I got this.
And I still have no idea.
He's a good man. He's a good man.
He absolutely. And, all she'd have to do is tell him this is happening. And he would be like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll fix it.
Hey, Laura.
But I mean, that is scary to know that you lost time, that you were having words that should not have ever come out of you to begin with, and would have never come out of you.
Yeah.
That, I mean, and then, you know, there's been times since then that I can feel her. I can't see it. There's been a couple of times, and I've seen it in her as well.
Mm-hmm.
I become mean and vindictive. It's not a, you know, it's not like a whole day's worth. It's a comment. It's a sentence or an action.
It's a tone.
Mm-hmm.
She gets a tone, and that tone hits my like my frequency, and I'm like, yo,
reverberation. It's not vibration, it's reverberation.
Yeah.
Boom.
And I'm like, okay, stop your shit. Take a breath. You know, I love you. Let's look at this from it, you know, from this point, because that's not Adrienne either.
Right.
You know, and so I know, and she does the same with me. It's kind of funny. She gets this, okay, and I'm like, what? What?
It's happening again.
Yeah. Yeah, but to be told that, you're like, and if anybody else would have told me that, I would have never believed it to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody who has never lied to me in her life, I'm like, no, this can't happen. No.
Yeah. Yeah, I know all about that. Now I'm 55, and for most of my life, I had something with me that I had no idea up until about 6 years ago. And I finally got the strength to reach out for help to Dead Files, and then the spirit mechanics came and helped me, and that's where I started on my healing journey. But looking back, and I've been doing quite a bit of that again.
It's the planets.
Blacking out, not remembering hours at a time. When other people tell you that you did this and you have no idea that you did this, you don't think you did that, but yet you did that, but yet you didn't do it. The entity that jumped inside or was inside of you actually convinced you to do that, even though that's not your normal thing to do, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. That's why I say now I'm slowly becoming the person I was supposed to be instead of the person that I became. Because I was an asshole. I can say that now.
I get that. I get that from all aspects except for the blacking out. And I think it's hard when you know what's happening.
Yeah.
And you can't control it. I don't know that to me.
Yes.
Because that's what happens with me. I can see it. I can sense it. I know it's coming, but I can't stop it. And that's what's terrifying. And so I'm like, where you guys black out, I'm conscious and aware of what's going on. And it feels, it's suffocating.
I'm supposed to tell you that over time that's going to change. And you're going to be better equipped to handle the situations. Over time and training with the mechanics, other people, other groups, my team, I can see this shit coming. It's like, no, we're not doing that. I feel you. Don't come anywhere near me. Don't go anywhere near my team. You just stand over there in the corner. I will deal with you in a little bit. We learn as we experience. When things happen, we learn. I say now that I don't make mistakes. I have learning experiences. And I've had a lot of learning experiences with the paranormal. It's how you learn. Yep.
I don't know what's scarier, being able to see it coming at you or feel it, because I can't. If it's toward me, I can't feel it.
That's where it hits me. And I'm like, oh, something's on Adrienne. And I don't know. If it's me pissing all over her, that's everything has to go through me first.
I think it's more the energy exchange.
Yeah. Yeah, because she does a lot of that for me, and that's what good partners do. That's what good.
Well, like when you did
that's
the
what
energy.
okay. That's what love does.
Yes.
That's what unconditional love is, right? It's an exchange of energy.
Mm-hmm.
When you love unconditionally, you put a boundary around that person that you love unconditionally.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how many people you love unconditionally, because I love everybody unconditionally. There's no conditions with my love. None. No expectations, nothing. I'm going to love you where you're at. We're going to love you in this moment, and we're going to get you through it. Because through my life, that's all I've ever needed, is somebody just to love me in that moment, to take that deep breath with me, and to say, okay, what's the next step? That's already done. That's already happened. Let's go forward.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Adrienne and I in our friendship, we're very much so like that. And we do have things from the past that bounce back quite a bit.
Repeating cycles.
Right. It's forever going to come at us. And we just need to be upfront and honest when we hear that vibration, when we feel that tone, when we know what's coming. And that leads a different layer of protection too, because you have trust in that person.
Mm-hmm.
And if I fail, I'm honest about failing. I'm like, I couldn't do it. I am sorry. Or I can't do this. This is too much. We need help. And that's when we call you Keith.
Yeah.
Like, all right, well, what are we doing? What are we pulling? Okay, hang on. I'll take this outside. Take care of it. Okay, we're good.
But that's what we need is a network of energy workers, of people who love the way that we love and understand the world that we sit in. We need that from others. We need that connection.
Yes, and it is okay. I want to stress the hell out of this. It is okay. If you can't figure something out, it is okay to reach out and ask other people for help.
Mm-hmm.
If you reach out to me and I don't know how to handle the situation, I have a network of individuals that I can contact.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, this is going on with this client. Have you ran into this before? Yeah, it's this. Do this, this, and this. Cool. Thank you. It's okay to ask for help, and that takes a lot for me to say because I'm a Scorpio, and we don't ask for anything.
And I think that was definitely proven, like with Adrienne and I, when I landed. We'll say I landed at your feet. I don't even know how I landed at your feet. That's how bad I was. That's how sick I was. That's how drained I was. That's how attacked I was. That's how down I was. I was on my deathbed.
Greg.
And I landed at your feet.
Greg put me in touch with you.
Mm-hmm.
Greg Bakken.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because I had people walk out at me on a high level that went, no, we can't touch that. Mm-hmm. No, we're not touching that. And you were like, let's figure this out.
Yeah. And that is something that I battle with myself when I'm doing investigations or get calls or messages. Hey, this is going on. And I understand why some people do that, but I think we need to take a closer look and not automatically, when some of these stories are so outrageous and so much that we've never seen, your first assumption is, okay, this person's attention seeking. This person is off the meds. This person has created something in their own little world, whatever it might be. But that's when I have to stop myself and go, okay, what now?
Yeah.
Because could it be real?
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not real, we need to have a discussion about getting on the meds or getting back on the meds.
Perfect example. I had an overseas client contacted me. She had paranormal issues, no doubt. I'll say in my opinion, because there's people out there that don't believe, and that's okay. I helped her. I taught her. And every day, it's back. It's like, no, it's not back because I took care of it where it can't come back. So I'd look and there wasn't nothing there. Next day, okay, there's something there, but it's different. Okay. We need to teach you not to pull the stuff back in, because when you're going through negative paranormal for a long time, it almost becomes like an addiction. You get used to that energetic vibration, those thoughts, that becomes your normal. So when somebody pulls that normal away, everything's different, and people don't like different. So they will try to pull something back in so that they feel normal.
It's paranormal post-traumatic.
Yes.
And we don't realize how much dopamine we really do live off of with that.
Yes.
But I'm going to say that that's not just for paranormal. That's us human beings, period.
Absolutely.
My greatest example of how people don't let go is I love church. Okay. Everybody who knows me knows I'm Catholic. I love church. I preach it. I try to live it the best that I can. But when I go to church and everything after but stinks, right? So when I go to church, though, it's hard for me to see people give up their sins, give up their demons. And I watch it, and I start to watch, the energy work to displace it where it needs to go. But the second that service is over and they hit that door, they're pulling it with them.
And
they're fighting for it back.
Yeah.
You just said that. And somebody a while back told me that they don't go to church, but they did as a child. And it was a Catholic church. But this person sees things. Like sees a dead person walking the same solid as one of us. But she told me that when she was in that church, and this is why she will not go back, she saw what she called little demons or whatever, gargoyles is how she called it, crawling up the walls during prayer. And then when they left, they went into them and they left with them. I've never heard you say something like that. And that's the only time I've ever had somebody see it and actually say it. And I'm like, and I believed her, of course, but I'm like, why is that happening? I mean, what is going on?
It's like, I'm going to hit one point and then I'll get back to that. The client I was talking about, I got to asking some questions that I forgot to ask before I started helping her. And it turns out she was on some antipsychotic meds. So I'm like, okay, now that this thing is taken care of, why don't you go back to your daughter? Because I'm at a standpoint, I don't think I can personally help you anymore. I think you need to go back to your daughter and get your doctor and get your meds looked at. And so she did, and they adjusted, and she's a totally different woman and no more paranormal issues. So I'm proud of that. But the little gargoyles crawling up the church, okay, people take them in with them. During the services, everybody's energy is meshing with the music and the preacher's voice, and everybody's vibing in that same meditational level, and those things get pushed out. But then as soon as the people get up to leave, Joe Mechanic over there, he's thinking, yeah, I got a cold beer in my fridge. Boom, it's back in him. Fred down the street, he's got a crush on so-and-so. He's like, as soon as I get out of here, I'm going to go see her. Boom, it's coming back with him. So they'll crawl out and then they'll crawl back in. And the people will take them home with them.
And that's one of my things is I let it go. If I don't understand something, I went through something this holiday season that was pretty rough. I'm still in recovery from it, but I had to have a talk with God because I never blame anything on God. God has a plan. His plan is perfect. I will follow it. I have faith. So I knew I had to have a talk, though. I had to talk it out, and I just had to let it go. So I sat in a skid steer for like 2 weeks, tore apart my yard, moved 20 tons of garbage, flattened out the land, moved some concrete, took down 2 trees, and had a talk with God and let it go. If you let it go and you don't grab it back with you, you're doing what everything was designed to do. And we've just forgotten what faith is, period, no matter what you believe in.
There's been many a day or night that I go out to the lake. That is my church of choice. I have a talk with Spirit. And there have been days and nights that I have thanked Spirit for the strength to do what I needed to do. And there has been days and nights that I have ripped Spirit's ass apart for the lessons that I agreed to, but now I have to go through. And but it's not, why is this happening to me? It's, what is this teaching? When I started asking myself that question, that's when my life started to change and get better. Do I still have everyday physical 3D BS that I have to put up with? Yes, I do. But I can put up with it a lot better than I used to.
My perfect example of blind faith is, I know that I'm not going to be put in a situation that I can't get out of. And like when we went to the Abbey on this last investigation, I went to go pray. We were at an Abbey. And it was like, okay, I know I'm here for a reason. Obviously, you sent me here to handle this, to take care of whatever it is, And it's necessarily not ever like revealed to me in the moment. I can sense it. I know where it's at. I can follow it. I can track it. I'm like a blind dog, right? I know exactly where to go and where it's at and what to do. It isn't until the end when I get the like instant replay in my head that it is revealed to me what I've been up against. And then it's like, okay, all right, fair play. I see why I didn't see it. But you really thought that was my pay grade? You really, maybe you should tell me I'm getting a promotion.
Yeah, because, when you go to sleep and you go out and you do work for whoever that you do work for, and all of a sudden you're used to dealing with these entities, and then you're put in front of this and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah. It was seeing Nick. He goes, you and me both. Nick saw it clearly. And I'm so proud of him because he's still with faith followed behind me.
Nice.
As he was looking at this thing, and he's probably thinking, well, Jan sees it too, and she's going for it. So let's go. No, honey, I didn't see it. Okay, you were the one that saw it. I didn't get to see it until after the curtains were pulled.
Well, speaking of seeing and feeling things, I've said this many times on my show. I will get cases that other teams run away from. And they tell the client, you've got a demon in your house. You don't ever want to do that. You don't ever want to tell the client what is in their home until after it has been dealt with, it is gone, and they are safe. Because if you do that, they are going to freak and all hell is going to break loose.
It attaches permanently. You've given it something visual. You've given it a name.
Strength.
You've given it, and that gives it strength. Yeah.
And there was one in particular case I was working on. The team said, well, this big, huge, fiery demon is after this person. Okay, let's take a look at the case. I started talking to the clients, team involved. We're talking vetting. You always want to vet your clients. And all of a sudden, I walk back in the shop at work at Napa, and here's this thing staring me in the face. And it's just standing there. I'm like, okay, about 12 foot tall, on fire. Description is perfect.
Accurate. Yeah.
All right. Well, when you do Reiki, you can work with elements: fire, water, air, earth. So I pulled in a little water, and I shot a little water hose on this thing. And the next thing you know, there's this native standing about my height, long black hair, native dress, soaking wet, going, almost getting mad because he's wet. And then he realizes, I'm not on fire. Turns out this guy was burned on purpose, and he's been walking around looking for help ever since. So I just thought to, I didn't say because he can't understand me, I can't understand him, but we can see pictures. I'm like, you want to go home? And he nodded. So I opened up a window, no specific destination. That's where he wanted to go. He went. Case was done. No more activity. As the hair on my arm stands up. So not everything that is big and nasty is big and nasty. You got demons and daemons. Demons are here to shit up. Daemons are here. They have a job to do to keep a balance. Do they look similar? Yes. But a daemon, you'll see that on an investigation, and it's going to say, you stay over there, I'll stay over here.
I am more concerned if a client tells me they have a child or an elderly woman. You tell me you have a child or an elderly woman. Yeah, like I'm calling Adrienne immediately. Like, I'm not messing around. I'm not stepping on it. I'm not dealing with it. I don't trust it. Don't ever tell me that there is a child. There can be imprints of children, but children do not do hauntings unless there's something malicious behind it. So, and little women, I mean, come on. Cute little old women, especially in dreams, run.
Most women come back as their prime.
Yes.
They're not going to come back as these little old decrepit.
Harmless.
No, but I have seen where there is actually children, and it's because something bigger is holding them there, and they think they cannot leave.
That.
I've seen a lot of things like that, but
in this house. That happened in this house.
Oh, did they get to go home?
Yes.
I think that's the worst, is when anybody feels like they can't leave.
It's kind of a sad story. We always heard scratching on our back porch upstairs that leads out to the sunroom and in our closet. And there would actually be scratches in the wallpaper. And doing research on the home, and then when Amy came from the Dead Files, one of the tenants that used to own this home had a daughter that was mentally disabled. And when people would come over, they would lock her in the closet or lock her on that back porch. And she would sit there and scratch at the walls and the doors to try to get out. Well, when she passed, this other entity that was here, Wraith, it's like, no, I can use that for energy. You ain't going nowhere. When we took the Wraith out, we were able to get her into a better place so she could go home. Mom, dad, brother, sister. Everything happens for a reason. And sometimes the entities haunting your home, somebody else's home, is also a client. Mm-hmm. And that needs to be understood, because a lot of people don't understand that. They think that everything out there is trying to harm. 90% of the cases that I've been dealing with lately are simply spirit guides trying to push the client to climb out of their slump, walk away from their addictions, sit down and write that book, I Hear You. And once they actually do that, everything goes away and everything's cool. But then they start seeing things a little more and hearing things a little more. Oh my God, I'm seeing and hearing these things. Yeah, I told you, you got some gifts. And since you cleared yourself of this issue, they're proud of you and they're probably going to help you come into them. So either say, I don't want these, or embrace them and we'll help you get through them. So aftercare is important. I want to state that.
Yeah.
I also want to point out imprints, and what I mean by if you're telling me that you're being affected by an elderly woman that you don't know. If it's somebody that's passed away and in something like that, they'll leave a certain impression, yes. Mm-hmm. But if a young or an elderly woman were to pass away and she chooses to come back, or she chooses to stay or present herself, she will present herself as a younger grandmother, not as the elderly grandmother or as the younger version of the woman, somebody recognizable, somebody that has a certain smell. you're going to know that it is that person by something in your core memory.
Yeah.
Well, that's
But
like
or in your DNA. Is that what I want to say?
it
It's
really depends on who they're presenting themselves to.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
like your grandma presented herself to me, not her face, but her hair as an older person and her dress as an older person, so that I would understand it's an older person, not some child or somebody in their 20s. Now, then we have Aunt Pearl up in the dining room up here, and I never met her. I had only heard of her. And she presents herself almost as the stories I've been told, as she's a little older, maybe my age now, and in an apron from cooking, because that's the stories that I've been told, is that she was always in the kitchen cooking. So that's how I knew who it was, to relay it to mom and dad, that standing in there, and just talk to her, please, because I don't know what she wants. She's not talking to me. So just talk to her, please.
We had a case in Kansas, and we had 3 investigators in the room, all gifted. I saw a little girl. One of them saw a middle-aged woman, and one of them saw an elderly woman. And when one would ask the elderly woman a question, the little girl would answer it, vice versa. And we finally figured out that it was one person showing us in the best perception that we would be able to see, hear, in order to help the situation out. And once we did that, all 3 went into one. Here you go. It was really weird.
Yeah.
as a little girl, I used to have tea. And, as all little girls, used to play with tea sets and, whatnot. My grandmother comes in, she asked me who I was playing with, and I told her, Auntie May. And she just looked at me and she goes, Oh, yeah? And what is she wearing? And I told her, She told me to tell you that she's wearing her St. Patty's outfit, the long green skirt with the jacket and the white ruffles that you always wanted. And she has the boots done all the way up, just the way you like. And my grandmother goes, You're going to go talk to your great grandma right now. But that's how she wanted me to present. And I learned as I got older that my Aunt May said that if she were to haunt them, that's exactly what she would be wearing. And I had it down to the I never saw a picture of it. And later on, as I got older, it was in a trunk and it was saved because it was her favorite outfit, and it was my grandmother's favorite outfit that she used to wear. So yeah, it was just, and it did. They had the long boots and everything else like back. Oh yeah,
That's amazing. I'm going to bring up a comment that Raymond made here. They're going to trigger the connection that you have with them.
Yeah.
And that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like we have a man, I haven't seen him in 6 months or so, but I don't see like people see. I have an impression in my mind that they're standing right there. I've never actually seen anything, and trying to explain that to my husband, who's a skeptic, he's like, yeah, it's called imagination. Okay.
No, because we have proof of that. I have video of you seeing an orb and following an energy orb, an actual energy orb, and you followed it throughout the temple. So,
no, yeah, that one. But this is here. But
yeah, I know.
This man,
just so you say you can see.
Yeah. This man presented himself in his maybe 20s, early 20s, red hair, real short goatee, and a button up, like the old Snap shirts. And it was plaid of some sort. But it was the thin material, not the thick plaid.
Yeah.
And so, my first thing, he's a farmer.
Mm-hmm.
And he was looking, I don't know how I got this within 5 seconds, but he's looking for his wife and child, newborn child. And then he was gone. I mean, there was no communication. He said it and he was gone.
Yeah.
A few, maybe months later, a couple months, he was standing, I was turned over facing my husband in bed. And he was standing at the side of the bed where my back was, and I could see him. But he looked different. He was older, and his goatee was not there anymore. And he was just there for a second and gone. And that's like, why? What message could you possibly have right now that was that important that you need to be right there, but don't say nothing? Never seen him again. Why does this stuff happen? I mean, like, there's no rhyme or reason.
He might have finally figured out that his wife and daughter have already crossed. He's been here waiting for them, didn't realize they crossed. And then all of a sudden, one of his past said, hey, they're up here. Come on, let's go.
Yeah,
You just may have been the stopping point. You might sometimes be like, like in the movies, you have the behind the scenes, like say like with Harry Potter, you got to go in through the side door and you don't see it. And there's this like a little energy spot right there, right? You might be one of those energy spots now because of you. And you just might be the battery that they need to see clearly what's going on. And you just catch glimpses of it and flashes of it.
Yes.
Because we're always being used like that. That's one thing that I don't think energy workers understand, is that we can say, yeah, we have our protections and stuff around us. But what we project out should balance the energy that's around us. So energy that comes within our field, we should be able to sort through.
Yeah. And when
should
I'm
be
working,
a filing system.
Yes. When I'm working, I am pulling in through my crown.
Mm-hmm.
That way I have enough energy to put out for the clients, to deal with whatever energies I'm dealing with. And you're right. That absolutely can be a battery for them to say, hey, there's enough. I'm here. But it might just be that quick.
Well, and, then you have like my ex-husband. We were exes long before he died. I mean, he's my son's dad.
Yeah.
We co-parented just fine, afterwards. But through a medium, he did tell her I'm sorry, which I knew exactly what that was for. He hit me. That's why I walked out the door. It only takes once. I'm good.
There you go.
And but we co-parented just fine.
Mm-hmm.
And when he passed away, I never got nothing. Well, last year, all of a sudden he's in my dreams. I'm like, this is not making any sense. This is not okay. And the stories, the things I was seeing made absolutely no sense. And it was 3 nights in a row. And they were all different. None of it made sense. I'm like, if there's a message, you need to say it, because this little play that's going on that I'm seeing is completely, making absolutely no sense. And then it never happened again.
Want to tell you something?
Apparently, but in both of in the last one he died, and no, in the last one he was telling us to get away. The building's going to blow up.
Oh. Raymond, might be a partial echo, and the echo started over, so he vanished. That's a possibility.
That is, and we have to. He's Native American too, so there's that aspect too. And I also believe, and I think that he puts specific downloads into dreams, and it may not make sense right then and there, but it's in the back of her super subconscious, and she's sorting it out. She's working it out, so when she comes up to that,
in 6
she'll
months
know how to handle it.
Well, I wrote it. Every time I have something that vivid, I write it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I never go back to it, but it's like, this is ridiculous. I don't know what's going on.
I love you.
I love you too.
And I've seen her grow so far into this, and like, I am so proud of her. She takes notes now. She reads. She does this. She does that. She took everything and ran with it.
I'm proud of both of you.
Proud of her.
I'm proud of both of you. I really am. You looking back to where, Jan, you and I first met, everything that we worked through, everything that we figured out, that if we put that out right now, people would think we were absolutely batshit crazy, and that's okay. So we're not going to put that out.
Right, because that was one of those cases that he got that everybody thought I was nuts.
She wasn't. She wasn't. What she was feeling, what she was seeing from her past was 100% spot on. And I had a difficult time convincing myself, even though it was right here in front of me, yes, this is what you're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
Just deal with it.
Yeah.
If you need to ask somebody, ask somebody. Hey, big brother up there, is this? Yeah. Okay. That's good enough. All right, let's do this.
Yeah.
But then I got to meet Adrienne through Jan and discuss some of their cases that they've been on because it affected things. And it's everything happens for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure we're going to have more adventures.
I can't wait. I mean, for me, it's given me, I can turn around and I can look back, and I'm sure Adrienne can, and we can go, woe me, woe me, woe me, woe me. And that's what our show's about, is we can sit there and we can say, oh, woe me, but we need to flip it and yet tell ourselves, I'm proud of you. Yeah. Like, I'm proud of you, Keith. You've come a long way, even since we've started, working together. And look how far you've come with the house. I remember the house at Scraps. And now look at, and that's what, what, I laugh. You talk about the Bowflex in the basement. I have the Bowflex in the basement. We're both rebuilding our houses. We both went through some shit,
Yes.
And here we are. And I'm proud of you and Adrienne.
Yes.
I'm one of those that I take it to the opposite extreme, where instead of, I've been through this and I've been through this, and no, I've got to go through this. And, that's the only way I can look at it. I mean, from the time I was 8 years old, my mom died. So I've had abandonment issues ever since, which caused me to remarry every 7 years from there. I'm on number 5 right now. And
he will be the last. When he goes, she comes home to me. Remember,
5 is change.
4 more years, and I'm going to have to reprogram my brain, because at 7 years, I don't care how good things are going. At 7 years, something says run.
Yeah.
And so, I know that that's coming, and I know that I'm going to have to, because
work on that reprogramming now.
Yeah, that's not an option.
You get to that point. That's going to help a lot.
He knows where to find her too.
But on that note, I hate to say, ladies, this hour has flown by. We are 15 minutes over.
Oh, wow.
And
we have an hour.
Yes.
6 later.
So I would like at this time, thank you again for coming on the show tonight. Thank you, everybody, for jumping on and watching. It is appreciated as always. Please tune into the RNN. Go like them on YouTube and on Facebook. And the Otter's Den is also on YouTube. So go like me, hit that subscribe button. It's going to help me eventually. I was just getting there, Lisa. A lot of people jumped on late. So please describe the show name, what day, what time, what you talk about.
We're actually going to start it back up hopefully next Friday.
Cool.
Because we took off for the holidays. But it's called Getting Cozy with Adrienne and Jan. We have a page for it. It's also on the Things Network as well.
Nice.
And it's on Fridays at 10 Mountain Time. So that's...
yeah, we're a morning coffee show.
Central? Eastern.
I think it is 12 Central.
Okay.
Actually, because I caught it once when I was on my lunch break.
Yes. You did. I think
And
you said it was at 12. So
I just put the link in the chat. So it's right there. You can click on it, go like their page.
I promise we'll become more active once I become more proactive in learning how to work Facebook. But I'm not tech savvy anymore.
I'm not either. I'm still learning myself. It's okay.
Oh, once you learn it, they change it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my problem.
Yeah.
I'm old.
I need to ask you ladies a question real quick before we jump off of here. This hour has gone so fast. Would you be willing to come back on in the future and talk some more?
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yay. That makes my heart happy.
Well, and you're going to have to take out a day off to come on our show. So
I would be honored. I would be honored.
all right.
On that note, it is time to hit the closing video and say goodnight. So once again, thank you, everybody. Take care of yourselves, take care of others, and let things flow. There's a lot of things going to be changing, a lot of information coming out that we've been putting out, but now is actually coming out. So I'm kind of excited about that. It's going to be a good year if you let it. Turn the mainstream news off. Don't listen to that. Just let things flow. Have a day, have a week, have a month. And over time, watch things get better. So thank you.
Thank you, Keith.
And good night.
Night.